today we're going to be making a thrill coaster with no inversions. Now I know there's quite a lot of coasters out there like this, so it's not kind of my usual challenge where I'm going for something like really outlandish that hasn't really been done before. Obviously you've got coasters like B&M Hypers, which to my knowledge none of them have inversions. Like the older Intamin Mega Light coasters, most wooden coasters that are quite tall, like most thrill coasters do have inversions, but there are quite a lot out there that don't have inversions, so I was going to challenge myself to build one of those. But it kind of forces you, especially with the newer ones, if you think of what this coaster is going to be inspired by, which will mainly be Conda of Wallaby, Belgium, the coaster kind of has to, whoever's designing the coaster has to kind of come up with more innovative elements that if you're trying to like force no inversions on it. I know Hyperion only has the one inversion, but some of the elements on there are trying to almost emulate inversions but without actually going upside down. Like most of them do like overbanks and stuff, and then especially on Conda's case with the non-inverting Cobra roll. So I think I might put some sort of unique element in it like that. But yeah, that's today's challenge. I will be making a thrill coaster with no inversions. Let's get into it. Let's get started. I think Conda is about 50 meters tall, so that's what I'm going to go with at the moment. So I think Conda's is about 45 degrees, which feels a bit mad, but that's Intamin, so we're going with it. They are very mad. So if I bring that down at the top, that's 45. I don't actually think I want it that tall. I'll go for like 38. That seems about right. There we go. We've got the lift in. So just like Conda, I quite like the idea of doing like a twisted drop, so I think that's what we're going to go with. Or do we do sort of like an Exodus style drop where it twists in on itself? Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good. So it kind of goes down, because it's not technically an inversion, it's more of like an overbank. But that's going to be a sentence I use quite a lot in this video. It's not an inversion, it's an overbank, I promise. So when it gets up to the top, what sort of G-forces are we getting from the laterals? Look good. Verticals 2, 3, 7. Not ideal. It's like 7 for like a millisecond, so I wonder if that's just because of the smoothing. I feel like it probably is. If you use block sections and stuff while you're smoothing, that piece of track can only stay flat. So it's just a nice way of doing it like that. Oops. Oh, what I've done, I've deleted the 0 card. No! Let's try again. We're killing many test dummies. That went to 3.5, I think. That looks good. Right, we've got our first element that doesn't go upside down. After this, I'm going to kind of bring it... Where's the banking gone? Bring it up. It's a bit of an I-305 moment where it just kind of snaps during an airtime hill, which is what I'm going for. So that's going to kind of come around here. Pretty weird element, which I think will probably be, obviously apart from the drop because it's pretty iconic, I think will be the signature element of the ride. So kind of how Conda has its non-inverting Cobra roll, this is going to have, I think, a non-inverting Immelman, which isn't technically a world's first. It's something that I think the new Batman Intamin coaster has, or at least it looks like it does. It kind of stalls out, sort of like this. But I think this will be kind of the sort of thing that, you know, Icon has, where it's like, is it an inversion, isn't it an inversion, sort of thing. I personally think that is an inversion, but I don't think this one is, which I know is going to be quite hard to quite hard to comprehend. But yeah, here we are. There we go. Non-inverting Immelman sort of thing. It's a bit weird, I know, but yeah, I think most of the elements on this coaster are going to be a bit weird. It does this kind of like another, like this big kind of stall moment almost. It's like a almost stalled overbank. I don't really know what it's called, to be fair. It kind of keeps turning as it goes through it, as it's coming down. And like very much the last sort of second, right near the floor, switches direction to be going around like this. I'm just going to pretend that my game didn't crash, and yeah, but Planet Coaster autosave is actually really helpful because it only deleted up until here. So I haven't lost any of the footage as well because OBS backs up things as it records, and yeah, we're back to it. It didn't happen. But if it's sort of in line with the first drop, I thought that could be quite a nice looking element. and make it kind of nicely fit in the middle as well. It crashed again, but rebuilt it, so it's not too bad. This is going to be kind of like the last section of the ride. I can't remember whether I mentioned, but it's going to kind of, I think, kind of, I said kind of about 4 times then. It's going to kind of, I think, kind of, it's going to come around here, do some twisty bits. We love some twisty bits, and then pop into the brakes. I think that's about it. I think it's getting to a point now where some elements on coasters, you can't really define them just to one manufacturer, because they're all kind of going off of each other now, aren't they? Like, I know it was RMC that kind of like first made the stall quite popular, and then there's Intamin, Mac that are doing it now. I'm sure there'll be other manufacturers doing it eventually. It's just funny to see them all not copying off each other, but just I don't know, getting a lot of different inspiration from different places, shall I say. But it's good. You want different manufacturers to push what they're like normally used to doing in coaster design. That is our coaster layout. Look at that. I quite like it because it's quite nice and compact, and the kind of main features, especially this part here, you can put like a plaza around this and it can be kind of like its own standalone feature of the coaster. And then obviously the first drop just stands out from literally anywhere. You could have a plaza here. Get back to you if I have any updates on the actual layout, but I'm quite happy with that. We've built it quite quick actually. So I will turn off all the actual supports in game, because as you probably know by now, I custom support literally everything. You'll see in the next park series that all of the coasters in that actually will be 2 meter smoothed and fully custom supported, and it has taken a long time. One of the main highlight coasters that will be I think episode 4 or 5, might be episode 6 even, but that coaster is probably the best coaster I've ever made. It's all 2 meter smooth and it's all custom supported with, I think it was like 1,400 pieces just to custom support the entire coaster. It's a longer layout than this. It's about maybe a little bit shorter, but yeah, that took a long time. So as you can appreciate, custom supporting takes quite a while, but it is worth it and I do enjoy doing it. So yeah, I will get back to you if I've got any changes to the layout of this. Right then, there has been a few changes, but I've given it a bit of a smooth and everything, normal spam smooth, and I've decided that I don't like this end section. I kind of want it to be, you know how there's the rapid fire airtime hills at the end of Conda? I want that, so I'm going to select all of this and delete it. Basically, I just want to redesign this end of the ride. I wasn't really feeling it, so I'm going to reduce the height. Oh, what is it doing? Go straight. So I'm going to reduce the height of the brakes for the slanted brakes part, and then I'm going to kind of create the ending of Conda where it's like, you know how there's 2, is it 1 off axis airtime hill and 2 normal airtime hills, but I think I'm going to replace it. So I wasn't really happy with the piece of track that was going over the brakes. It was a bit too close, and I thought I could do something a bit more interesting, since quite a lot of this layout is quite airtime focused, so I don't really know what it's called, this bit. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you know what it's called, but it's basically like a wave turn with like a hump in it, almost. It's kind of like, you know, the Outer Bank on Velocicoaster, it's like that, but if it wasn't Outer Bank. So you've kind of got like a wave turn, but you'll get airtime as you're going through it. So you'll get like, as it comes to the top of the wave turn, that bit's set out a bit more, so you'll get pushed out of your seat and have like, I don't know whether it'll be ejector or a floater, it depends how fast the train's going at the time, but if I just bring this bit down here. See what I mean? How it kind of like sticks out. It needs to stick out a bit more actually. But yeah, it kind of sticks out from an overhead view, so it kind of comes through and you get this like probably quite nice burst of airtime as it's coming through, but while it's still following that like kind of wave turn arc, I suppose. So the next part, I think we'll start it on the brakes. So I want an airtime hill and I'm thinking 2 off-axis airtime hills, so it's kind of like the opposite of Conda. So we'll have 1 normal airtime hill at the end and then 2 off-axis ones before it, but obviously going in different directions. So, I mean, it's probably going to be more of a speed hill, to be fair. You don't want it to be like ridiculous, long sustained floater or ejector. It'll be like a nice little pop of ejector as you go over it. So So you get like those rapid airtime moments before the end of the ride, which is what I wanted. This one I know is way too big, but I'll smooth it afterwards. So I need it to kind of come around here. So what I was thinking was we'll have a turn here like this, and it's going to come back underneath that airtime hill. A bit sort of semi-cheetah hunt, semi-Hyperion, because Hyperion has a quite nice low to the ground section. That's what I'm going for with this bit anyway. So it kind of does a few kind of like quite whippy, short, low to the ground turns, and then just as it comes into this part here, like a little speed hill almost. In fact, I might actually just, yeah, I'm going to get rid of all of this and just put the speed hill in, I think, because it's going to be, with how fast, because you're still going relatively fast here, like you don't want too much going on, because then the elements just become kind of too snappy, if that makes sense. Like you want the different parts that you put in to flow. I think just doing this as well frees up a bit more space, like actually in the area that the coaster's in, because before this space was kind of all occupied, whereas now it's kind of more kept together, and it just works a bit better. There we go, that's pretty much all I wanted to change with it. But I think now it kind of just, yeah, the ending section definitely flows a lot better. So yeah, I think that is about it for this video. I really enjoyed this one. I did think it was quite, I don't know, a simple concept, and in terms of a challenge, obviously, there is quite a lot of coasters like this, whereas most of the challenge videos I've done, like especially the one I did last week with the coaster under 50 feet, not a lot of coasters are like thrill coasters are under 50 feet, so it's quite a challenge because you don't really have much precedent to go off. Whereas this, there are quite a few coasters like Condor, like Expedition G-Force, like B&M Hypers and stuff that are thrill coasters, and Taron I suppose, to be fair as well, thrill coasters that don't go upside down, so I had more of a precedent to go for this one, but it's actually ended up quite well. I think it's still kind of just as creative as the other challenges, and yeah, I'm happy with the layout of the ride. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next challenge video as we are coming ever closer to the park series. I'm so excited. I've been working away quite a lot in now because my uni work is drawing to an end, so we can get to the park series sooner as I'm working on it more, and yeah, I'm very excited for you all to see it. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.